Welcome to the Human Experience, a podcast dedicated to the transformation of human beings. My very first guest is a human being by the name of NUXLEY. This guy is a very interesting person that I've known for the past 3 years. He is a photographer, city hopper, shoe fanatic, family man, and unfazed by bullshit kind of guy. Without further ado, I'm gonna give you a taste of his human experience. Maxine, how you doing, bro?
Hey, what's happening? Thanks for having me.
No stress at all, man. So look, just a couple of deep questions I'm going to ask you there, man. Just answer as best as you can. So first, I want to ask, how's your human experience coming along?
Oh, yeah, that's a good opener. My human experience has been somewhat more I feel very abundant in the experience. It's been
Okay.
I was going to say not all bad, but just very up, down, all around. Good times, sad times, tough times, happy times, a lot going on, a lot of traveling experiences, parties, friends, all that sort of stuff. So I can't complain so far.
So it's going pretty well at the moment, Dobby.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and out of all of your experiences so far recently, what has been the most painful experience, and how have you grown from that?
The most painful experience, I'm going to have to split this into two. It's obviously the year 2017. I lost 4 close friends of mine, 2 who were my best. And I kind of spiraled into, I wouldn't say addiction and things like that, but my ways of coping with it weren't very good. I kind of was back from Australia I went to Australia 2015 till 2017. And obviously I was kind of heavily partied out, just being young. I was 24, I think, when I got back.
It's distracting yourself from feeling certain emotions and...
Exactly. Well, like when I had come back in March, I think it was, and we had already lost a friend, Maxine, under tragic circumstances, to say the least. But do
you mind sharing what happened to her? Just
suicide. I won't go too much into detail, just out of respect.
Yeah.
But it was pretty horrific. And then I came back after that, and that's the thing about being in Australia, you kind of don't really feel, that didn't really hit me very much, because when you're so far away and you're not around it all happening, it's hard to even realise she just wasn't there anymore. But then when I came back, my friend Dan, one of my best friends, Dan, had been very, very sick for a long time. He had cancer. And he actually passed away the night of my sister's wedding. So that was the first kind of huge loss I had suffered very close to me, I think. And then a couple of weeks went by after that, and I was just kind of, the shock was just kind of falling off me after that. And then one of my best girlfriends, Clara, she committed suicide as well. And then a couple of months after that, like, there was obviously funerals and a lot going on. We won't get into it too much. Yeah. Then one of our he wouldn't have been one of my best friends, but I was very fond of him. One of the first people to kind of break down barriers with sexuality and stuff as well. Adzi was his name. Great guy. He went in for an operation. I don't know the ins and outs of that either, so correct me if I'm wrong, but he went in for a procedure and never woke up, basically. So after that, I kind of lost my way for 2 years and fell into drugs, fell into drink, fell into all that bad stuff. And I just woke up one day and I ended up being a little bit suicidal myself. And for me, it was kind of like it wasn't even a thought, it was an overwhelming feeling of, like, I feel like a piece of shit, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, it
was like a shameful kind of feeling, or what kind of emotions were you feeling?
Just felt, what am I doing? Like how did I get here? And I think instead of going and doing it myself, my niece had just been born, and she popped into my head when that happened. And I put the phone down, I turned off my TV, all these bad things I was doing, just wasting my days away. And I rang my friend who was a personal trainer. I said, give me a program, give me a diet. And I just started putting my life back together. Started reading looking at podcasts, reading books. And then I eventually started getting better jobs, still shitty jobs, but still moving, like things were happening.
Getting momentum to improve your life.
Things were happening, and then long story short, a couple of years down the line, I ended up back living at home with the parents and stuff, which was nice, and I got to stick up all the things on the wall that I was doing and all the books I'd read and all the cool things I did and stuff like that. So that was part one of the horrible experience, and the second one was obviously losing my grandparents. It's got to be that. Like, I feel like that's number one, the most painful for me, because it's still fresh.
Oh, really?
You know, grandfather died Christmas Eve, and my nanny actually passed away first, and I was big nanny's boy, you know what I mean? Always got money in the hand, even
getting you sweets, spoiling you.
Even at 30 years old, you know. So that's a big one for me, and I'm still going through that too. I don't think that will ever. I don't think you can ever. I don't think you can ever get over those things, but you can get through them.
Yeah.
There's a big difference in those two statements. So coping, you just kind of stick with your family, counselling, exercise. I'm very lucky. I've got great friends, girlfriend there now as well, who really helps me out too. So
having a sense of community, you would say, is very important to you.
Yeah, boy, kudos to myself as well. You know, not everybody can help you. It's completely up to you to grab your life by the balls, if you want to say it. You know, you can look for help, this, that and the other, but there has to be something inside you that realizes that you're here for a reason. You know, the human experience.
Yeah.
You are here for something.
Yeah. And
you might never find out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So, for all those people that may be watching that are kind of going through those similar things, you know, loved ones that have committed suicide and things like that, what advice would you give to them? They're watching this right now.
Feel every bit of it. I think is the best thing to do. Don't start going down to the pub and putting your head in a bottle. And if you do that, don't beat yourself up. It happens. It's a coping mechanism. People smoke cigarettes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just snap. There's got to be a moment where you snap out of it and just don't fall too far, because you can get your life back. You can. There's no shame in that. You know, there's a reason why everybody's an alcoholic. There's a reason why everybody's a drug abuser. There's a reason why people commit suicide. But you just give it everything you got. It's the hardest thing in the world, but just give it everything you got, you know. I feel like everybody has it in them, but everybody just will have a moment of whether you go that way or go that way.
Yeah.
You know?
But you just have to decide, man, if you want the change in your life.
That's it.
Got another question for you, and this is quite a deep one. I think a lot of people struggle to answer this, including myself. And basically the question is, what do you feel like it means to be human? Just like based off of your experiences in life. Like,
I feel like to be human is just to be yourself. Like, you know, don't be afraid to be embarrassed, be rejected. Don't be afraid to try new things, wear new hats, wear funny socks. Yeah. Don't be afraid to be yourself in public. Don't be afraid to go cinema by yourself if you want to go see something. All these things you'll realize one day by talking to old people. It's probably the most valuable thing you can do, because they'll tell you they're so carefree. They'll tell you what really matters.
Speak their
mind.
And
they only find out when they reach that age. So if you can live like that now, you'll live a pretty cool life. So just be yourself and don't be afraid to cry and all those, especially being a man as well. Like everybody's afraid to cry and shit. Like it's just part of being
part of the release of those emotions.
It's all these nonsensical thoughts that you just, you know, make up yourself to avoid being yourself. You know, you feel like when you're with the boys or whatever, you have to be the boys, and nobody cares about that.
Yeah. I feel like there is that kind of like stereotype, if you want to call it that, where men have to be strong and be this. And I mean, like me, I know from doing lots of research, reading books, people are suppressing emotions. Like when you suppress those emotions, you don't feel them fully. Those emotions get stored in the body, and that's actually can lead to things like addictions, trauma that's stored in the body. Addictions, depression, anxiety, and I know that from experiences.
Being tough to me is showing extreme weakness. That's what people don't understand. If people are crying, nobody's laughing at you. They're took me a long time to realize this. I always felt like I was less than everybody else for having so many problems and this, that, and the other. But people are actually seeing something in you that when you're going through it, they're taking so much from you. So the more you're going through, the more you're actually giving back without knowing as well. So it's really interesting when you flip it. Like if I seen you cry, I'm like, I'm so happy he's getting through this.
Yeah.
Instead of just you carrying on with this pain and just pretending. That's even worse to see than.
Yeah.
And especially like everybody can see it when you're faking it. And you gotta have people that like call you out on it too.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. Yeah.
And how would you say, like, what's the best way to gain or improve your relationship with crying? Because some people just can't do it like that.
Don't avoid it. Like if it's coming up, just fucking cry. Like it's I strongly advise people that are around people that are going through emotions publicly. Don't smirk. Don't laugh. Comfort. Like be there. Like don't let anybody feel by themselves because they're already feeling that. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the worst thing ever. So it's so backwards, the whole world. You're allowed to laugh, but why aren't you allowed to cry? Why are you made to feel any different? It's just another emotion. Simplify it.
It's like we kind of taught not to embrace the dark sides of ourselves.
You can't get through something hard without crying about it to move forward. Otherwise, you're just putting it back. It's like a force field. It's like a wall. And the problem with men is you hit this wall, you're like, I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to go backwards, back to the pub, back to the drink, back to the whatever.
And that's where the addictions go.
That's what it is. That big wall is the addiction wall.
Would you say the people you surround yourself with plays a big part in?
Huge. Like sometimes you're better off by yourself if you're with the wrong people. It's better to be by yourself than with 6 clowns. But at the same time, family will always help. Can't trust all them either. You really got to know, and I think you find out when you go through that sort of stuff as well. Who really is your keeper,
I feel like for me, one of the best ways for me to really just dive deep into my own emotions was journaling. Just everyday journaling my thoughts.
Big on journaling, reading, man. Just every time you have your head in a book, there's a lot of things going on coming towards you,
Yeah.
And the minute you lift your head up, you're smarter, you're more knowledgeable, all that stuff, Yeah. It's not a bad thing keeping your head down for a while.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I just have one final question for you then, man. Based on your experiences, your skills, your knowledge, your wisdom, at this moment in life, how do you think you could be of service to humanity?
I think just to again be yourself, but for me it's provide happiness, make people laugh. I've always been a bit of a joker since I was a kid and never really lost that. I took my life too serious for a long time as well. And then felt like it when I was kind of going through all this stuff as well. I had to be a certain way. But now that it's kind of died down a little bit, I'm just getting back to being myself. And just all that weight is off my shoulders thanks to a lot of friends kind of guiding me along. But just getting back to being myself, man, making people laugh. I love making people laugh. I love when people come over to me and we just laugh.
Yeah.
There's no sometimes it's almost a chore to talk to people on nights out. But I find myself sitting with people all night and we're just drinking pints and laughing and just fucking all that shit. So yeah, it's
people
cool.
feel good about themselves. And
It's cool that people come over to you just for certain reasons, just even if it's one specific reason as well. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that you have that inside you. Because I've got friends where like I might go to you for one thing, but I might call another friend to do another thing. So it's like it's nice to know my thing.
Yeah.
My thing is like the fun, whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. But for a long time, it was there was too many substances involved and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's good to get back to just acting.
What are you doing now to kind of, obviously you said in the past, things like drinking and all that kind of stuff. What are you doing now? Like, what are the habits you've replaced with those to kind of,
When when I was in motivational mode to get my life back together, I was obviously getting up early, working hard, all that. But now that I'm kind of valuing my sleep, I'm getting to bed early instead of getting up early. I'm just making sure I'm just trying to live a natural life now, and just falling asleep when I'm tired, eating when I'm hungry. I don't have schedules anymore per se. I like having things to do, but structure for me, I function better when it's just kind of like day to day.
Yeah.
And I used to plan months in advance. Like if we were going drinking, I'd have my fucking bag of cans like 2 weeks ago, man. Like a lot of my friends will tell you this, like, but now I'm just like literally every moment, like, I'm here with you now. I'm fully present. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking where I have to be later because I already know where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
I've got my life in order now for a little while, and it's pretty cool. And it seemed to all just come together at once, which is kind of mad because I was doing so much at one stage. I was like, whoa, it's all up in the air,
Yeah.
But now it's pretty, it's nice and chill.
Yeah. Well, I think everything happens for a reason. All that, I believe everything does happen for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
The universe just aligns everything, and the whole reason why I wanted to do this podcast was, people that are struggling with lack of direction in their life and, overcoming addiction and stuff like that. I've overcome things like that myself. That's one of the reasons why I wanted you on the podcast as well, because you've obviously been through quite a bit. What do you feel like was the best thing for you to come over addictions? Like, what is the recipe to overcoming addictions?
It was tough, I'm not gonna lie, but it was literally, you just got, when you start seeing the progress from it, like I'll have a couple of drinks now and things like that. I'm even thinking of going sober again and stuff like that, but I'm just going to I think the best thing to do is just to cut it out for a few weeks, and you'll see how much better you feel. Like you've no hangover, your skin gets better. Start very small, and then you see big life changes and stuff like that, So it's just more so when you see the benefits of your own life and how you're feeling, and your head gets some clarity and stuff like that as well, So it's just, and the longer you go without it, that voice in your head, that temptation kind of goes away as well, So yeah, it's everybody's experience is different, so I'm not going to tell anybody what to do.
No, of course, that's what your experience is, man.
But just give it a go, As long as everybody can do it, man.
Yeah,
everybody can do it.
See, for me, it was when I read this book, Atomic Habits. The number one way to shifting your habits and overcoming addictions is, I think most people focus on the outcome. Is I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, focus on the outcome. And instead of focusing on the outcome, it's focusing on shifting your identity. So basically choosing to become someone else, or having the perception of yourself as something different. For instance, when I was smoking cigarettes, I was a smoker. So if you keep saying to yourself...
You kind of labeled yourself.
So we're always telling ourselves, I'm this. And for a long time I was saying... someone would offer me a smoke and I was trying to quit. I'd say, no, I'm trying to quit smoking.
Yeah. I
wasn't say, instead of saying, no, I'm not a smoker.
I find with smoking as well, the best thing to do is to have something in your hand. Like I have something in my hand now. I'm off the smokes a couple of days again. And even still, I was only like having like 2.
Yeah.
But I just find fidgeting with something.
Yeah.
It's always good, because that's the addiction for me. It's never really, it's more muscle memory for me. I just associate it with like dealing with things,
Yeah.
So it's cool when you can just fidget.
Definitely it's distraction from feeling emotions. I know myself, like, especially in like a social environment, I think the environment's just one of the biggest as well, man. Like,
yeah.
The day, man, it was crazy. I was like, just the environment of being in a pub, having drinks.
Get yourself down to the coffee shops, man, and just chill out in the park. And get up early, because when you get up early, man, you go for a big walk, you don't want to smoke. Your mind automatically makes better decisions.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's actually bizarre sometimes.
It is, man.
It's just you go so far into the bad habits that, like, when you drink, my room starts to get messy. I start forgetting things. It's just, I'm affecting everybody and everything around me.
Yeah.
So you're actually destroying yourself.
Yeah.
And then I notice when I don't do that, I'm sharp, I'm making good decisions, I'm good to be around, I'm more energetic. Like your life gets better, not anybody else's.
Yeah.
That's a byproduct of actually feeling good. Everybody else's life gets better too because you're the man. It's bizarre. Yeah.
100%.
Pretty cool.
I think that's pretty much all the questions I have to ask you today, man. Is there anything else you would like to add there for anyone that's watching there? Anything you would like to add?
Just live life, man. Do whatever it is you wanted to do. Don't be afraid to go places you want to go. Don't wait for anybody to do it.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best with your podcast as well. I'm looking forward to coming back on when you're big and famous. Shouts to Lucas as well for doing all the equipment. But thanks for having me. And
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Thanks very much.
No stress.
Nice one.